Well, good morning and welcome to this very hot week of weather. Starting off blazing hot. I'm Terry Eliasen, meteorologist Terry Eliasen, here with Lexie O'Connor. Thank you for joining us. You were already on this morning talking about the heat, and we're off and running on day 2 of our heat wave.
Yes, and it's the second, well, yesterday was the second 90-degree day we got so far this season, and it's like summer is here, and we are just
It's amazing, like we went from like,
heat.
everybody was like focused on the rainy weekend, and when is like spring coming, or when is summer coming, and then boom, we just go right into, we don't mess around, we go right for the 100-degree day.
There was no like comfortable low 80s, let's just go
right at it.
The extreme heat warning, why not?
So anyways, let's check it out. We got a weather alert already at 90 in a couple. Alexia, you just checked 90 already in a couple towns.
Norwood right now is 91.
So pretty much most areas inland today will definitely be well into the 90s. Interesting along the coast and in Boston, and that there will be a little bit of a sea breeze. So it'll be kind of flickering off and on, but definitely still hot wherever you go. But I think today, if you're thinking about going to the beach, much more comfortable today at the beach than tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's just going to be blazing hot everywhere, and tomorrow will be the hottest day of the stretch, with a chance of setting an all-time June record tomorrow. That's hot stuff. Yeah,
even in Boston, we could hit 100 degrees tomorrow. So this is that extreme heat warning that started yesterday, late morning. It's in effect through today, through tomorrow for areas in pink there. So it's really all about the Berkshires, Cape Cod, and the islands. You're under this extreme heat warning because it could feel like 100 to 110 degrees when you factor in the humidity. So it's not just the heat. Dew points are up near 70 degrees, so it's muggy. You step outside and you just feel the weight of the air.
Yeah, a lot of colors on that map, and you might be looking at it kind of confused. I think the long and short of it is, unless you are on the Cape, which will be, you get a little bit of a cooling sea breeze, it's going to be dangerously hot for the next couple of days. And so if you have to spend time outside, if your job takes you outside for whatever reason, or you're heading to some, the beach or whatever, it's just important that you kind of know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Make sure that you're dressed properly, and that, you're certainly drinking plenty of fluids. And if you know folks that don't have air conditioning, neighbors, friends, whatever it is, make sure you check in on them, help them to, kind of stay out of the heat.
Yeah.
Definitely would not want to be in a situation where you don't have a way to cool off over the next few days.
Yeah, and I think Jacob gave a good idea of like, go to a museum or a library, or I always think of, go to the mall, walk around there rather than outside if you want to get some steps in or do something, or you have to get out of the house to get some AC. There are places to go. There are also some cooling centers. I know we had that on the news this morning. So.
Yeah, the thing about this heat wave, and a lot of heat waves actually, is that you don't get a lot of relief at night. So even though during the day, and these are the forecast highs for today, well into the 90s inland, like we said, but the nighttime lows are still, in the 70s. Boston may be just close to 80 degrees for a low tonight. So you don't get a lot of, it's not like you can open the windows and let the cool air in. You don't get much relief. And we really won't get any until much later on Wednesday. So it's several days of just stifling, sort of oppressive heat and humidity.
Yeah.
So Boston's weird today. So again, I think it was 82.
It was 82 at one point this morning, and then dropped to 79 with a little sea breeze kicking.
And keep in mind the sensor is at Logan Airport, which is literally right on the water. So if you're in downtown Boston, it may easily be 90, but so what's probably going to happen today is what happens during a lot of these sort of hot days in Boston. It's going to sea breeze during the day, down, it'll be in the 70s and 80s, and then that sea breeze will just cut off, will end sometime around 5 or 6 o'clock tonight. The winds will shift, and Boston suddenly will be 93 degrees. So kind of like the heat wave will likely continue, but in most of the area, it's definitely going to continue today. And those dew points are just,
sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually I feel like once we get into dew points in the 60s, it starts to feel kind of muggy, and these are like pretty high dew points in the low 70s.
Yeah, we don't see, so there's a 77 up there in southern Vermont. Like we don't, it's very few times during the year we see mid to upper 70s for dew points. That's when that's like Houston, New Orleans type of humidity. We don't get a lot of that here in Boston, so. You add that with temperatures in the 90s, and it's going to feel certainly like well over 100 degrees, like you said. And here's tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a fascinating day.
So hot.
Yeah, so as we'll show you in a minute, it'll almost certainly be a record high for the day. The question is, will we get 100? And if so, could we break the all-time June heat record, which is 100 degrees? We've never been warmer than 100 degrees in June, and we got a shot tomorrow in Boston. definitely in some of the burbs. I think we'll see 101, 2, maybe 103 degrees in a couple of the burbs.
Because the difference is tomorrow we won't get that sea breeze. We'll have more of a westerly wind, so we won't have that sea breeze kind of kicking in and cooling off the Muni coast. It will be a little cooler or less hot, I guess, along Cape Cod and the islands. But yeah, even down to the coast in Boston, you're looking at highs near 100 and feeling hotter than that with those dew points.
Absolutely. So if you want to talk about records, today again, this is for Boston. Unlikely. We'll see if we get how much of a spike we can get late in the day, but I don't think we're hitting 96. But tomorrow, it's almost a certainty that Boston's going to do better than 95. Will we get 100 is I guess the remaining question. And on Wednesday, I think a lot of the burbs may hit 90 for one more heat wave day. I don't know about Boston. I think Boston may fall short.
Yeah, Wednesday I put Boston in like the mid to upper 80s, just with that onshore wind dropping temps a little bit. But yeah, I think some spots will definitely still be in the 90s. So some areas could be looking at a 4-day stretch.
4-day heat wave. Yeah. Right, started yesterday going through Wednesday. And we should just touch base that if we do hit 100 tomorrow, it would be the 28th time on record. And Boston records go back about 150 years, so that's a lot of record keeping. So you figure 150 years, that's like once every 6 years or so we hit the 100-degree mark on average. Last time we did it was 3 years ago in July. I don't know if you remember that, but we had a hot stretch there back 3 years ago.
It's early though for June, you know. It's like we just hit summer and here we are. Most
of our hottest days are typically in July and August. So the hottest ever in Boston, July 4th in 1911 was 104. I don't think we're getting 104 tomorrow, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's totally impossible. So we could definitely be talking a hottest June day on record. But yeah, June, again, not a lot of 100-degree days in June, more so in July and August. Here's Wednesday.
Better?
A little bit better. We're getting, Wednesday's kind of like the transition day. It's like, okay, it's not stifling 100-degree heat anymore, but it's still kind of lingering humidity. And then we turn the page after that. Yeah,
Thursday and through the end of the week, it is going to be cooler. So if you don't like the high heat, just wait until Thursday. And some people like this heat and are like, summer is here, let's go, let's, hit the splash pad, and they like the heat.
You know what? A buddy of mine texted a group this morning and said, hey, you guys want to play pickleball tonight? And I said, is this a joke? Are you serious? Like, 95 degrees inland tonight, I'm like, it's really not the best idea. We're going on TV today telling people to stay out of the heat. Maybe wait till later in the week for the the pickleball match. Or even the golf match. I was at a driving range last night, and it was probably 85 degrees, and it was still really hot.
Yeah. It's nice for a little bit. Like, I went for a walk yesterday, and I was like, oh, yeah, it feels like July or August, but I wasn't going to go running. It's nice for a little bit, in small doses, maybe.
Yeah, play it smart, definitely, especially today and tomorrow, when the heat is peaking. Today will eventually be, we've hit 90 twice in Boston this year. We believe that today will be day number 3. Tomorrow will certainly be another day. So we're climbing up the ranks. We're about what we should be for June. We haven't had a year, again, that 2022 year when we last hit 100, that was our last big year as far as 90-degree days goes. The interesting thing is, if you remember 2023, it was a really humid, soupy summer. Lot of rain, a lot of high humidity, and it didn't feel cool at all, but we just didn't hit 90 a lot.
Right.
So 90 is not always like the benchmark as far as hot summers go, but when you have a lot of humidity like we did in 2023, you can still have a hot summer without 90. But anyways, we average about 14, 15, 16 days, 90 plus. But there we go. There's the refreshing end of the week, yes.
And look at the average high. We're typically around 79 degrees, so this is like well above average, like 20 degrees above average. Yeah,
so right, you look at Thursday, Saturday, like it looks like it's so much cooler, but we're really just getting back to average, right? And Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a lot of folks are already asking because there's a lot of graduation parties going on. Is it going to rain? I don't think any of those days are washouts, right?
Yeah. I think we'll have the chance for showers,
Right.
unlike today and tomorrow. But yeah, I don't think any day towards the end of the week, even though you see the chance for a shower or storm on the 7th-day, I don't think there are washouts. In fact, Friday, like this morning, was looking like we might be in between some showers, so we might luck out with Friday.
Yeah, it actually looked a lot better today than it did yesterday with some of the longer range models. So I wouldn't, if I had a grad party Friday, Saturday, I don't think there's no day looks terrible. Again, you might have to dodge a shower. It'll definitely be cooler. It's not gonna be 100 degrees. So overall, it looks better, and the dew points will be plunging later this week. Gonna feel downright like refreshing, fall-like by the end of the week. So that's also good news if you're planning a Friday evening grad party or something.
I think the humidity is what gets a lot of people. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like the warm temperatures are sometimes nice, but when you factor in the humidity, that's what makes it uncomfortable.
Yeah. Now, there's a little bit of a question as to do we get hot again by later this weekend and early next week. Some of the models show us back into the 90s, and therefore, like this particular model showing us sort of getting back into that, hot to sweltering range early next week. We'll have to see on that. Let's get through the next couple of days, enjoy the end of the week, and but it wouldn't be unusual that we're getting close to July, that we have a couple more 90 days in the long range forecast for sure. And now, so I want to preface before we show this whole thing, this is going to look like a gloomy weekend on this particular model. I just previewed this coming in. It looks like a lot of clouds and a lot of green kind of dancing around here this weekend. But again, I don't think we're looking at anything too terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think any day is a washout. I think there will be some showers if you have outdoor plans. Keep an eye on the forecast type of a thing. Yeah. But it's just not going to be as dry as the start of this week.
Exactly.
We're seeing now.
Yeah. So definitely dodging a few showers come later this week. No washouts, and I think again back to near average temperatures. But I think the focus is, as it should be, on the next couple of days. Again, if you have to be outside, if you're working outside tomorrow, later today or tomorrow, or even into Wednesday, you definitely should try to get as much shade as you can. Stay hydrated. All those things. If the kids are going outside, make sure they're hydrated. Bring them to a splash pad. Make sure they're spending more time in the water than they are outside. Yeah. All those types of things. And then again, hopefully transition day on Wednesday and much better times later this week.
Yeah, so maybe just try and enjoy, some splash pads, some summer heat while we have it. At least it's not all week. If you don't like the heat, we have some relief in sight.
So if you make sure if you're watching on YouTube that you like and subscribe. It's hard to, again, a lot of times when we do these, it's hard to like the forecast when it's, rain or 100 degrees, but you can like the folks that are delivering it at least, right?
Give us a like.
So stay safe next couple days. Lexie will be on at noon in a little bit to update the forecast, and Jacob's in tonight, and we'll talk about more heat.